Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are looking at some of the big donors in politics, the real money makers and policy makers, who, because they are rich, get to decide policy. We may think we have a democracy, we don't. It's an oligarchy. The rich give the money to the politicians and say, I need you to do this. This article's from ABC News 2021. Just 12 megadonors accounted for 7.5% of political giving over past decade, says report. The dozen donors gave a combined $3.4 billion to national candidates and causes. At the cost of the federal elections rises almost every year. Just 12 megadonors from both sides of the aisle, at least 8 of whom are billionaires, made up of a combined $3.4 billion in contributions with federal candidates and political groups in the past decade, news report shows. This means that the top dozen donors, 6 of whom largely supported Democrats and 6 of whom generally supported Republicans, accounted for 7.5% of the $4.5 billion or $45 billion donated to federal political causes between January 2009 and December 2020. According to the analysis by Washington-based Good Government Group Issue 1, based on the campaign finance data compiled by the nonpartisan research group Center for Responsive Politics. Now, they've divided it into 6 for each party. But we'll get further into this as this video goes on. But this is just from ABC in 2021. $45 billion and 12 donors amounted to 3.4 billion of it? Yeah. The analysis offers a sobering account of the level of influence that a handful of wealthy donors have on modern U.S. politics, especially as politicians and political groups increasingly emphasize grassroots support and small dollar donations. Yet we see it is the big money donors, and in particularly a group I hate without a doubt in the world, AIPAC. They made Jamal Bowman's district race the most expensive race, political race in the nation's history. It shows you how money has too much impact. Americans are losing faith in our democratic institutions, Issue 1 Executive Director Meredith McGahey wrote it in the report. They see the political gridlock and a broken campaign finance system that gives undue influence to billionaires and millionaires across. Let me get out my shirt from under my butt here. across the political spectrum, while the vast majority of ordinary citizens lack a seat at the table, McGahee said. Congress must urgently act to restrain the growing influence of money in our politics and build a system that truly represents all Americans, not just a wealthy few. Yeah, there needs to go back and congressional acts made to fix the bullshit caused by the Supreme Court. The $3.4 billion from the 12 biggest donor amounts to one in every $13 that all federal campaigns and outside groups raised over the past decade. Roughly $1.4 billion of that came from the self-funding of the unsuccessful 2020 campaign of Michael Bloomberg, who was the founder of Bloomberg LP, who provided the funds, and hedge fund manager Tom Steyer. Remember, they ran in 2020. We don't like this fact that Bernie may run, with Bloomberg alone dropping more than $1 billion of his own money into the historically expensive presidential bid. Americans don't want billionaires. Or, honestly, we don't like even millionaires in our positions of power. It's not what Americans want. But, yeah, the rest of the $2 billion from the top dozen mega donors, some of whom are individuals and some of whom are married couples, was funneled into various federal campaigns and political party committees, like Republican and Democratic national committees, as well as into super PACs, which, unlike campaign and regular political committees, are allowed to accept donations of a limited amounts. Yeah, which is one of the things that should be banned. It really should. According to the data, the 2020 election cycle saw a record $14 billion in contribution to the presidential election and congressional elections, more than twice the total amount spent during the 2016 election cycle. 4 years is all it took for them to double what they were spending to try to get the president. The single biggest Republican donor of the Republican side was Las Vegas casino mogul Sheldon Adelson, who with his wife Miriam Adelson gave more than $218 million to Republican campaigns and outside groups during the 2020 cycle. Adelson Sheldon, he recently passed away. I know Miriam is still alive though. Yeah. GOP megadonor who passed away in January of that year, funneled a whopping $90 million to a new pro-Trump super PAC that popped up to boost the President Donald Trump in the final 2 months of the election, campaign finance reports show. On the Democratic side, in addition to the unprecedented amounts Bloomberg and Steyer put into their own presidential campaigns, the two billionaires put another $300 million into supporting various other Democratic causes. And remember, it was because they so feared Bernie winning the Democratic primary in 2020. That they were like, I need to run. No one wants you. No one likes you. Your money is not what makes you good. It's your policy. That's why Bernie got so much attention. He had the right policy ideas. You all don't. Other top Democratic megadonors were New York-based financier Donald Sussman, mathematician and hedge fund manager Jim Simons, Illinois-based media mogul Fred Eichner and Facebook co-founder Dustin Moskovitz, according to the report. Other Republican megadonors were shipping industry executives Richard Uihlein, hedge fund manager Ken Griffin, Pan Am Systems chairman Timothy Mellon, former TD Ameritrade CEO and Chicago Cubs co-owner Joe Ricketts, and hedge fund manager Paul Singer, the report said. In the analysis of political contributions by zip code, Issue 1 found that the top 12 megadonors and their spouses accounted for roughly 25% of the money contributed by all residents of the 100 top giving zip codes. A quarter of the top 100 giving zip codes. They account for a quarter. 12 megadonors, suggesting that their contributions dwarfed even other affluent donors. These 100 zip codes are home to approximately 2.5 million people. Less than 1% of the entire population of the U.S. But donors living in these areas accounted for about 20% of the $45 billion that federal candidates and political groups raised between 2009 and December 2020, according to the analysis. So yeah, big money. And it just goes to show how, unfortunately, it is insanely influential. How Wall Street and billionaires have donated to U.S. elections. This is from Reuters. New York, Wall Street and investment firm leaders have been prominent in the list of the top individual donors of the U.S. midterm elections, with influential megadonors growing as a percentage of overall contributions, according to Open Secrets. That's one of my favorite sites to use. This article is from November of 2022. Most of the donors this cycle are the same people who have topped political contribution lists in the past years, with a few exceptions, including cryptocurrency billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried. We now know he ended up in jail, who has emerged as a major Democrat supporter, and his FTX co-CEO Ryan Salome, who backs Republicans. Bankman-Fried is on Tuesday announced he would sell FTX non-US unit to crypto giant Binance, which said it would help cover a liquidity crunch at the rival exchange, marking an abrupt change in fortune for Bankman-Fried. Billionaires made up 15% of all federal political itemized donations from January 1st, 2021 to September the 30th, up from 11% in the 2020 election cycle, said Sarah Briner, Director of Research and Strategy at Open Secrets, a nonprofit organization that tracks campaign finance. So yeah, just going from the 2020 presidential election to the 2022 midterms. Previous article was after the 2020 presidential elections. This article is after the midterm elections in 2022. So yeah, um, prior to the U.S. Supreme Court's 2010 Citizens United ruling, which struck down limits on political contributions by corporations or unions, political contributions of billionaires made up of around 30% of overall political contributions, he said. Here are some of the Wall Street investment billionaires who make up the top 25 largest political donors this election cycle. The ones they have listed: George Soros, Ken Griffin, Susquehanna International Group founder Jeffrey Yasgirl, and Janine Yass, his wife, Sam Bankman-Fried, Steven Schwartzman, who founded Blackstone Group, Ryan Salome, Elliott Management founder Paul Singer, hedge fund manager Stephen Mandel, Renaissance Technologies founder John Simons, together with Marilyn Simons. Yeah. Big money donors on both sides. And they give a small indication of who they are and how much they gave. Now, this is Open Secrets itself. The individuals who have dipped deepest into their own pockets in campaign contributions to federal candidates, parties, political action committees, 527 organizations, and carry committees. Only contributions to Democrats and Republicans or liberal and conservative outside groups are included in calculating the percentages the donors have given to either party. And they have it broken down. Timothy Mellon contributed a total in 2024 $115 million. Most of it in outside money. I'm trying to show the Republican side, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that. I'm just going to have to scroll over back and forth. But maybe if I do it this way. You're not doing what I want you to do. I didn't want you to show this little side panel, dummy. But anyway, yeah. $6,600 he's of that $115 million he spent. went to Democrats. 90 million to Republicans. I wonder who he supports more. But that was Timothy Mellon. Ken Griffin, he's one of the names you see a lot. And he's usually a Republican supporter. Mellon was retired. But Ken Griffin, he was head of Citadel LLC. Can I? Not what I wanted you to do. Trying to make this a little easier to see. Anyway. There we go. That's a little better. Timothy Mellon. And then Ken Griffin donated $75 million over 2024. Zero of it to Democrats. 75 million of it to Republicans. Richard and Elizabeth Uihlein. Uihlein and Yes both are the big funders for the group Club for Growth, which is all about hurting things like Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid. They look for, they want to get rid of a lot of the taxes on the rich. They want these huge tax cuts, and yeah, they're essentially billionaires who are like, I think I should have the right to make as much money as I want. Uihlein and his wife, $71 million donated total. Zero to Democrats. 71 to Republicans. So, again, you can see this was Griffin. 7138 or 36 or 75 37 75 36, so almost all of it going directly to Republicans or Republican groups. Yeah, they're evil fucks. Uihlein, I mean, you can look at the line here on the side. If it's red like this, they majority voted red, blue, red, 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 red. First one we see for Democrats. Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn. He only spent $28 million, $23 million of which went to Democrats. He still spent, what is that, $400,000 on Republicans? So yeah, your Republicans, they do not like Democrats because there is a movement to tax the rich on that side. Bloomberg spent $27 million. Most of it went to Democrats. He, again, I don't like you, dude. You're not some loved figure. You only are to the media dumbasses over there at groups like CNN and MSNBC. You're not beloved by anybody in the actual on the left, in the base, regular people. Fred Eichner, 25 million, almost all the Democrats. James Simons and his wife, Marilyn Simons, 24 million, almost all of it to Democrats. Then we get to those who kind of split money. Because, look, he's kind of a gray or white. That means they spend kind of equally on both. Mark Andreessen Horowitz is what he's part of, and then Ben and Felicia Horowitz. They both those donors $24 million approximately. Andreessen 1,204,000 to Democrats. Republicans 1,370,000. So yeah, it's they pretty much split between the two. Yeah. So these are these corporate centrists down the middle who are like, hey, as long as you don't tax me, I'm fine with it. The Horowitzes, 24,563,000. 1,219,000 to Democrats, 1,314,000 to Republicans. And then we go back Republican and Democrat. Republicans, Sheldon and Miriam Adelson, all to Republicans, no Democrats. Laura Perlmutter from Marvel Entertainment, 0 to Democrats, almost all to Republicans. John Ricketts, 0 to Republicans, almost all to or 0 to Democrats, almost all to Republicans. Rob Walton, Bentonville, Arkansas. Name Walton, he's probably one of the Walmart inheritors. $13,223 to Democrats. 16,530,000 to Republicans. Stephen and Susan Mandel, 15,526,000. 14,428,000 of which go to Democrats, and then it's like 63,000 or 630,000, I'm not sure which, to Republicans. But of course, their biggest thing, Democrats. Warren A. Stevens, none to Democrats, but 15 million to Republican groups and causes. Stephen A. Schwartzman, almost 15 million total donated, none to the Democrats, almost all to Republican politicians and causes. And then we run into another gray group. So just over 14 million. This is Gavin and Yakimi Da Becker. None. He probably didn't have much to Republicans either, I'm almost betting. Yeah. Okay, that works. Janet Ausschloss. See it. Anyway, back to the DeBeckers. All their money, more or less, was spent probably on causes, on wants, rather than politically. Janet Ausschloss, or Duchesses, almost 14 million spent, 48,000 Democrat, 13.5 million Republican. Deborah Simon, 12.5 million spent, 12.443 spent on Democrats, none to Republicans. So yes, Linda and Vince McMahon, 11.5 million spent, pretty much all of it to Republicans, none for Democrats. Republicans get all these big money donors, and it's clear as a fucking bell. Let's go the next. But now we're getting to those like 10.5 million and below. Elizabeth Heising, Jay Scheid, Jan Koum, Wayne Jordan, Walter Buckley, Henry Lauper, Timothy Dunn, Kelsey Warren. There's one that's a Democrat. The rest so far look like there's two Democrats, four Democrats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, 6. He's kind of in between Miguel Bezos. And then you got Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. Another Walton, Arkansas, part of the Walton family. But yeah. See, this is just looking at the first 50. There's 50 more to go of the top 100 entries here. We're getting down smaller, under 5.5 mil. But still, that's a lot of money. And you see why they pick those causes instead of what would help the average American. Because these fuckers have money. And that's why it's always policies that would help the rich that go through things. Who else we got? Conaway, Navarro, Haworth, Marcus, Burgum, Schwab, Charles Schwab, Thomas Pettifree, Steve Brody, James and Leslie Lautad, Wendy Schmidt, James Davis, Anthony Lomangino. They usually are pretty divided on who they vote for, left, right. Often you'll see more that are right wing. Occasionally there'll be someone like this in the gray. That means it's just whoever helps them push their ideation or agenda. Sometimes it could be they don't give to either party, they're instead looking at other ways. So, yeah. Light blue. Huh. Light red. Interesting. So we're getting to where they're kind of midway, but it's just whoever they think will help, but they'll lean one more direction than the other. So yeah, as it says down here. But we're seeing all these big money donors. Yeah. Just in the top 100 here, we go from just under 3 million up to 115 million. Now, there's also these big names that give other ways. You know, you all often hear about George Soros being the great evil, according to many on the right. 128 million to support Democratic campaigns. Spokesman for Soros said 125 million went to a super-pac that's meant to last over several cycles. But between that and other giving, he has contributed around $35 million to campaigns and candidates this cycle, meaning 2021 to present. So yeah. And then Ken Griffin, we talked about him being a big Republican donor. You know, the third biggest donor as of September 30th, spending more than $68 million to help Republican efforts. According to Open Secrets, Griffin said in a statement, "I hope that my political engagement will help protect the American dream." Whose American dream? Because for many Americans, it's not theirs. They're not getting the American dream. Susquehanna International Group founder Jeffrey Yass and his wife Janine Yass were on the fourth spot on the list, spending more than $44 million on Republican causes. I wonder who was number 2. Because they go from Soros to Griffin. Makes me wonder, is it supposed to be someone like what's his name, Adelson? I was trying to remember his name. For some reason it would not click. I'm like, what the hell was his name? I guess they just wanted to list some of them. But yeah, Soros, Griffin, Yass. Yass really delves into some evil depths. I hate that guy. I really, really do. Sam Bankman-Fried, he was the 6th largest donor, but like I've said, he was recently jailed not that long ago. So yeah. Blackstone Group founder Steve Schwarzman sat at number 8. Ron Salome, 14. Paul Singer, founder of Elliott Management, 15. Hedge fund manager Stephen Mandel and his wife Susan Mandel were 17th. And Renaissance Technologies founder Jim Simons, together with Marilyn Simons, was number 20. So yeah, they've left a lot of these off, but these are the ones they've given. I would honestly just prefer them give the whole list. But yeah, it gives us a look at who these big money donors are. Both parties, I can't say both sides because there's a far right, the Republicans, and a corporate centrist, the Democrats. There is no left. People go, the Democrats are so left. Motherfucker, you're an idiot. They're corporate centrists. They're not left. They only look left because you're on the far fucking right with the Republicans. But yeah, the corruption and avarice and there needs to be a stringent crackdown on monetary spending in American politics. Yeah. But we'll go ahead and end this episode there. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting these links in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.